All right, okay, today we are going to do the singing fish. And this is, oh, what a fish this is, right? I know some of you are not so sure it looks like a fish, okay? But as I was just talking to Mrs. Brown, we were talking about how this might be a fish that you would see in your imagination. Like, this would be considered what's called abstract art, something that doesn't look necessarily exactly like something you would see in nature, but something that maybe you imagine, oh, that would be really cool if I drew this fish right here and I drew him standing up on these cute little fins and I have his whole mouth moving and it looks like he's singing and maybe this is his little scales hanging out the back or his hair, or it looks kind of like a hat. I mean, it can look all different ways. Everyone sees something different with abstract art, which is something that's so cool about it. And it's really cool to try to do something out of your imagination. So anyway, but this is, we're going to try to recreate the singing fish by Miro. Okay. This artist was born in Barcelona, Spain in 1893. When Miro was 7 years old, he took drawing lessons at a school in Barcelona. At this school, oh, sorry, I should show you. This is a picture that someone drew of him. At this school, a student earned high praise for detailed and accurate drawings. But this is not the way that he liked to paint or draw. Later, he enrolled in art school where he could paint and draw however he liked. He was much happier here and could paint with more imagination and bold colors. At age 25, he visited Paris, France, to search for new ideas. There were so many ideas and artists he was overwhelmed and went back to Spain. But he didn't stay home very long, and eventually he ended up moving to Paris. His first art show there didn't go very well, and he didn't sell one painting. He was very poor, but he didn't give up because it was something that he loved. It was a very interesting time for artists and writers in Paris in the 1920s. Miro became friends with poets, writers, and artists who were very imaginative and unique in the way they express themselves. This type of art is called surrealism, actually. So I said abstract. Surrealism is a type of abstract art. There's going to be all different types. It is art that is somewhat in the middle of reality and dreams. Many will remember Miro as the Spanish surrealist, but he was much more than that. He was influenced by and produced art through many art movements like Cubism, Fauvism, Expressionism, and abstract art. He also did a lot more than paint. He used sculpture, textiles, which is like fabric or different kinds of, oh my goodness, I'm having a hard time thinking of what it is. Textiles, though, I think of fabric. Pottery, theater, and huge public monuments to share his ideas as an artist. Let's see. It tells me to look at the little box below. Oh, sorry. This is a picture in a book, and I didn't grab the book, so just a second. Miro is best known for his use of childlike strokes paired with very abstracted, colorful, and modern subjects. Bold black lines, starbursts, so see the bold black lines and these kind of starbursts right here. And the use of primary colors, which primary colors are 1, 2, 3, red, yellow, and blue. Do you guys see red, yellow, and blue on this painting, right? Red, right? Blue, yellow, okay, yep, check, I see that. And they make his works recognizable by anyone. This is something special to him. Okay, so our vocab term today is mixed media. Do you think that he was able to do all of this just with one kind of paint? What do you think? Probably not, right? Because you can imagine if you're painting this with with a pen and ink, I could see how you could get these black lines, but my pen and ink, am I going to be able to get this like kind of cool spray paint effect? Probably not, right? So then he would maybe use pastels to do this, or blending like of different colors of paint. For the splatters, he probably used a different kind of paint. And anyway, this almost looks like he just painted strokes of different colors. So he likes to use all different kinds of mediums in his art, and we can do that too. All right, you ready? Oh, let's ask a few questions. What do you like most about this painting? I want you to kind of think about that for a minute. What do you think came first, the singing fish or the splattered background? And why do you think? Let's see. How did Miro balance the colors in his painting? Okay, watch this, look. Blue, and then right across he put some blue up here, right? Yellow, put some yellow here, some in the corner, right? Red, he put red here, and then kind of a pinky red here, and then some red down here. Do you see how he kind of used this space to balance out his colors? Let's see, what kind of lines does Miro use in his painting? Right, big, long lines, you see that? Maybe some zigzaggy lines. All right, does this look like a pretty fun painting to do? I hope so, because we're gonna try it. Mrs. Brown and I also were talking, and she said it kind of looks like something, I don't know if you've ever tried this, where you make a scribble and then your friend has to finish the scribble into something else. It kind of looks like maybe a work of art like that. So here we go, let's have some fun. Grab out a Sharpie or a black marker. Turn your picture, your piece of paper in portrait style, which is the tall way, okay? And then we are gonna start by drawing the fish first, and then we'll get to come back and do all the colors around the outside, and then we get to splatter paint, which is super fun. So we're all gonna have lots of fun. Okay, now there are different ways you can do this, but this is the way that I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do these as big, long lines, okay? So that's one big line. It's gonna start at the bottom, it's gonna come up. It doesn't have to be straight, it kind of comes up to the top. Okay, see that? All right, now there's another one that kind of comes up at this corner and it comes all the way down. You ready for that? Here we go, it starts at the corner, comes like this, and then comes all the way down. Okay? All right, let's see. Where's another one of these big lines? I think actually I'm gonna do this one. This just kind of helps me. I'm gonna come like this and then come back across, okay? It looks kind of like a Pac-Man mouth a little bit, only with some curves in it, okay? So we're gonna start here. We're gonna come across and come back across like that, okay? All right, let's see. What else do we need to do? We need to do, you know, actually we're gonna, just debating. We're gonna start here and we're gonna do this line coming down. That kind of curves down. So it starts right about below this. And we kind of draw a straight line coming down. Okay, then we're gonna also draw about halfway down, we're gonna have a line coming off this. And then maybe we might want to draw kind of a curve coming around like that. Okay, you can kind of see it's just different scribbles and different lines hooking together. Okay, and this guy, I'm just going to continue coming down. I'm going to hook him here, have him come out. And then I'm going to start here in the middle, and I'm going to go out, and then back across, and back across again. And then I'll do one right here that kind of goes all the way across. And then I'm gonna do, see, mine's getting short and kind of squatty because I decided to take up a ton of space. If you want to do yours a little narrower, you can do that. Let's see, and then I'm gonna come down and draw this last little part that kind of goes like this. It goes out and back in and back out. And then there's kind of a curve right here. Okay, and over here, there's kind of a section that goes across from this. And then it kind of comes down and curves out. Okay, we're just trying to get some of the lines in there. And then, if you notice, all over the place, he has some of these cool, like, asterisk stars. And you draw those by making a plus, and then you can just draw an X. Or you can do an X, and then a plus. Your choice. It ends up making the same kind of thing. So I kind of did them all over. All right? And then he kind of turned his hat into something like that. Do you see that? I think of it as a hat. It's not really a hat, but he kind of turned the top of the fish's mouth into nose into that. And then he kind of drew these little curves right here, kind of coming out. And then I think it's probably important that we don't forget the big eyeball, right? Don't you think? Ooh, ooh. All right, there's my big eyeball. Fish eyeballs are round. Oh, I did a really small one, right? I should make the center bigger. There, I like that better. Okay. All right. That sort of look like his fish. I think so. Okay, now we get to color in blocks or sections, right? So looks like the top section is going to be black. All right.
You can use crayons for that too.
You can use crayons for this too, but I like the look of just the dark, the black sections, because then I think it makes the other sections stand out really bright. But it's true, you could use crayons or markers, other color markers too. You don't even just have to stick with black. Okay, all right, so I'm just gonna kind of go through and make mine look as close to Miro's as I can. And color in the black sections, and then I'm going to come back and color in the sections I want to do a different color. All right, so here's a black section, and then looks like this little pointy part out here is black, and then this little section's black. Okay, we're just kind of working our way down the fish. If you want to thicken some of your curves, you can. Use this. And I'm just trying to make it similar to his. So he colored this top one black and then jumped diagonal, colored this one black. And then he kind of colored this whole section black. Right here, made this line maybe a little thicker. And then we do like this black, and this guy black. Anyway, so just kind of work your way down and do all the sections that you want to black, because it's going to make your colored sections stand out a whole bunch more. Okay, so then next, that's what I would do, is I would say, okay, what color do I want my fish eyeball? I don't know that I like the eyeball red, so I think maybe I will choose to do my eyeball purple, because, you know, why not? So then again, you're going to want to color it. You're going to want to color it with really saturated color, okay? If you want it pale, then color it pale, but make sure you're trying not to leave white spaces, because when we splatter paint over the top of it, then it's just not going to show up as well. So, okay. And then you're just going to go through and paint your light colored sections, your white sections. So, you know, if you want to paint this one green, color this one green or color this one yellow like his, you can do it like that, or you can color it however you want to. That's the next thing. Other thing I'm going to talk about is these cool different circles on the side, how he got those. To me, it almost looks like spray paint, but you could kind of make a similar thing by using a crayon and a colored pencil. Like, you could use them together, or you could just use colored pencils where you just color, like on this one, it looks like he did kind of orange in the middle, like this, and did it dark, and then he went back and kind of colored over it with yellow, filled it in. And now with pastels, you can kind of blend it with your fingers, but you can't do that as well with this. So what you have to do is actually color over your first color and then kind of color the outside of it. Or you can do, like, you could do a colored pencil where you do push hard in the middle, so it's really dark in the middle, and then just get lighter and lighter and lighter. It's also going to kind of look like that spray paint effect.
You try the flat side of a crayon too.
And that was what I was going to say. You can also try your crayon. You could do dark center and then just push it lighter and lighter and lighter. And you could even try a different spot on your crayon. Like, you could try using kind of the side of your crayon to get it to look. But this is kind of your chance to explore and experiment. Man, the crayon kind of turned out really cool. I like the crayon one. So that's all different options to kind of make those spray paint effect. Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm just going to color one more section in, just because it drives me a little crazy to not have something else colored. And then I'm going to show you how we are going to splatter paint over the top of it. Okay, and Mrs. Brown's going to show you maybe some other ideas of what other people have done with this artist. You want to show them the other examples? Okay, now for the ending part. All right, you're going to take your picture and we're going to splatter some splatter paints across it. That's how they got this cool effect going on. So, do not do this unless you talk to your parents first, okay? When you splatter, it goes everywhere, not just where you think it's going to go. It goes all over the place. It's going to go all over you. It's going to go on the wall. It's going to go all over the place. So when we do this at school, we actually put it inside a Tupperware, like this, a great big plastic bin, and then we hold it at an angle, and when we splatter, we don't splatter with our whole arm, we splatter with our wrist, like this. That's how we're gonna do it. And that will minimize how much paint gets everywhere. The other thing is when you splatter like this, guess where the paint's gonna go? Woo! All over you, all behind you. So when you splatter, you wanna splatter down. Make sure you're flicking your wrist and pointing down, because where the brush ends up, that is where the majority of the paint's gonna go. Other options would be to do this outside or to do it somewhere where your parents say, okay, it's okay if you splatter paint here. But please check with your parents before you do your splatter paint part and make sure that they know, okay? Now, when we do this in school, we do this with a craft paint, and then we put like, acrylic paint, and then you water it down like a ton. So you wouldn't take the whole craft paint bottle because you don't need that much. You just put a little bit in a cup, and then you put a bunch of water in it and mix it up, and then we're gonna dip our paintbrush in it, and then we'll splatter like we talked about. I will show you this. The other way you could do it would be with using your watercolors. So that's what we're gonna try first. And I've never done this before. Well, I have, but it's been a long time, and I got in trouble with my parents for splatter painting in the house. So anyway, you get your paint wet and get a lot on your paintbrush. You want it to be really saturated. You get it close, and then you flick your wrist down. Do you see how it's a little brush, so it's just gonna make little lines, but you see how it kind of splatters and flicks, and I'm flicking my wrist down and making sure it points down when I'm done. Okay, now if you're gonna use acrylic paint, you could even, if your parents have one, you could use like a sponge brush, or you could use a little bit wider of a brush that I have somewhere. Just a second, I'm grabbing. And it's not a super fancy paintbrush. It's just this little thin paintbrush, but you could also use maybe a sponge paintbrush that you can get a lot of them. And again, you just put a little bit of paint on the end. You don't need to put a ton of paint on it. You just put a little bit on the end. Carefully get it into here. And then you're going to, you can choose which way you want to angle your brush. That's going to make a difference. And then again, you flick it down. If you want it to go on an angle, you can tip it at a different angle. And you just get it until it gets all the splatters. If you want it to look a certain way, you want it to have dots on it, you could do it like that. Or again, if you want lines, notice how I'm flicking and I'm ending. My wrist is not coming super far. I'm not moving my whole arm. It's just my wrist. And that is what's going to make the cool splatter effects. Anyway, have fun. That's Miro, the singing fish.